Okay? But he points it out to us. It's not rocket science, this uniqueness. And if we think about our sojourn and our existence here, as hard as it may be at times on us, because even today, even though we were not directly involved in it, it still hurts. It still hurts. When you really understand all that went on and that may be still bothering us, it still hurts. What is it hurting? It's hurting our soul. It's hurting our aspirations. It's hurting our desire to throw off that which is bothering us. Allah tells us in the Quran, never will He change the condition of a people until they change what's bothering their soul. And if you tell me nothing is bothering the soul of these people, the descendants of these people, you're kidding yourself. This is not a guilt, feel bad pitch. This is how we have to sober up and address the issues that are affecting us. Another statement from the same Islamic Convention, the Mosque Islamic Convention, September 2004. He says, as a comparison, look at all the life that comes from a seed, and know that the seed is plentiful. And he uses the example of what comes from a seed. He uses the example of a tree. One of the most fruitful plants around. Not in terms of what you can eat, but what comes off the tree, right? Trees, they give you more use than any other plant. We even have this terminology, the tree of life, or our family tree, right? So we have taken cues from the tree. He says, Al-Islam is to be seen in its broadest sense. In other words, when you look at Al-Islam, when you study Al-Islam, don't focus on just the little statement in front of you. Al-Islam is bigger than the little statement in front of you. Think about the whole picture. Its connection with everything. This is how you make connections in Al-Islam. Its connection to nature. Its connection to science. Its connection to history and other religions. Al-Islam. And see yourself in the picture. Wow. It says we cannot separate ourselves from our brothers and sisters, the Christians, leaders or non-leaders, who came before us with help for us. And there were plenty. We know of them, starting back as far as we can. You know, when I say those brothers and sisters who came with help from us, we're talking about people here on the shores of America, North America, under bad conditions and came out of bad conditions. You know, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, and the others, Douglas, Washington, Carter, Du Bois, right on up, you right? Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm, Martin, Imam Muhammad. All of these people came with help for us, to us, however you want to put it. says we cannot separate ourselves from our people. We're a part of each other. We must keep all of their help alive. And I told some of my colleagues who have no clue as to what it means to do something good in the community. They've never done anything good, never even joined their own neighborhood watch. So you don't have the orientation. If you never even been on a neighborhood committee, you never been on a city league committee, never been on a block watch committee, you never done nothing. You don't have that orientation. We must keep the help alive. And you kill these people, you kill them when you let the idea of them die in your head. They may be alive in my head, in your head, but if you allow them to die in your head, you killed them. So, he's telling us that we can't separate ourselves from our people. Today, he speaks about social regression, going backwards. And it could be said that too many from our group are acting like they're going backwards, regressing, especially in their behavior, the things that they're doing. Regress means to go back, to pick up ways that you're supposed to have grown out of. I mean, 60-year-old man sagging. That's regressing. And you see that. That's just one classic example. 60-year-old men regressing, or still walking around with the hat turned. Then you're going this way, but your head's going that way, backwards. That's regression. And you know what? The number one enemy of mankind is accelerating his pitch of paganism. So, a lot of our people are adopting pagan ways and don't even know it. Pagan ways. You know about paganism? Your religion tells you about paganism. You should know about paganism. They may not know about it, but Allah says, you want to be loved? Renounce the world. One way. This is just one way. You want Allah's love? Renounce the world. And what is the world? We have the story in the beginning, how Allah created this paradise. Right? Paradise. He showed it to Jibril. Jibril said, what a wonderful place. Then within a microsecond, Allah changed it and said, okay, now look at it now, Jibril. Jibril said, well, how can anybody go straight in such environment? Right? He said, that's the one that's the environment that we're in. Why? Because the enemy of all mankind, Adu and Nas, decorated it all. That's what we have today, decorations, allurements, enticements, and on and on and on. Money and everything else. So, we need to be on cue to share with our brothers and sisters, look, that's a pagan behavior. That's a pagan practice. Come on now. You're not a pagan. You're bigger than that. I mean, sometimes we have to talk to our people like this. You're bigger than that. Something is being held out to you, and somebody's trying to get in front of you to prevent you from getting it. What is it? Allah's promise that's being held out to you, to those who accept it. Blackism, according to this same convention, is now punch drunk. Because its advocates came in on some of the great counter punches of the Nation of Islam and the freedom fighters who came before. So if you still hung up on blackism, right? And you don't give an intelligent response, you show that you can talk about these things without being buried in them, you're still caught up in the blackism. And that can be a hindrance. That negativity will hurt your progress. This has been said. So, the trend, again, which is accelerated, is to promote pagan practices. I'm in this class where one of the instructors is pointing out this, highlighting how in a lot of ways how we, not this group, are practicing pagan ways. So brothers, for example, if you see a sister that you like and y'all interested in each other, you have to be careful. And sisters as well. If you see a brother that you like, because of the ways that they accept, you got to analyze these ways. They could be bringing pagan ways to you, trying to get you to agree to them. When you do that, you compromise your religion. I also told one of my colleagues that we talk a good game about religion, but we don't practice it. The first commandment told us, thou shalt have no God before me, and to make no images, right? And I showed him something that he just couldn't get over. I said, a graven image, that's a graven image. It was graven, right? That's a graven image. And look how many people worship. They don't say they worship you, but you can believe their behavior and their action. They'll kill you for this, won't they? Not only will they kill you, they'll steal from the mama, steal from the daddy for this image, this graven image. But one of the first, second, or third commandment, no graven images. So are we not making the connection? Allah knows best. So in conclusion, all we wanted to do is mention just briefly some of the things that this scholar, this imam, mentioned to us. Okay? Because we quote everybody. Why can't we quote him? That's my opinion. You can, I'll have a problem quoting Bukhari. I'll have a problem quoting Muslim. I'll have a problem quoting Tabari, Ibn Kathir, or anybody else. So when I quote this scholar, you shouldn't have a problem, right? Because, again, Al-Islam came to us, not from someone else. If you be honest, it didn't come to us from someone else. It came to us through one of us. And it, from what we can gather, it's more appropriate for us to analyze it from that perspective. We don't have to discard everybody else's, but primarily it's more appropriate to analyze it from this perspective and ask Allah to guide us, to show us the right way, so that we won't be unfair or unequal or just taking sides. But our life is still on the line. So, and we can't fix that or correct that until we, again, correct what's bothering the soul. Okay? Muslims are not seeking an identity. We're not searching for an identity. A lot of people are. We're seeking improvement. We're not searching for an identity. We're seeking improvement. We have an identity. It's almost like, when we took the Shahadatain, it's almost like we have had an encounter with the Almighty. It's almost like that. And if you remember how this community hit the streets to tell our people, take them images down. Especially this one image that don't look like you and me, take it down. Stop looking at it. Stop talking about it. Stop referencing it. When you relate to things, try not to have that in your mind. Because why? It looks like the same one that mistreated you. Unfortunately. And we can do this. We can analyze these things without being I don't know, racial, racist, as they say. So, God willing, with this, I found this article, the Mosque Cares Islamic Convention, September 2004, to be interesting. And we may, once we get time, we may want to go back and revisit it, review it, because these things will keep alive what was given to us and what a lot of us helped to bring forward. Once we were exposed to it, we got in the trenches and helped to bring it forward. A lot of us were on some of these committees promoting these things, the CRAE committee, or whatever committee, the Ways and Means committee, the collective purchasing, they called it AMCOP at that time. All of those committees, some of us worked on these committees, so you know what we did and how it played into the whole picture. And we were not bothered by racial or being racist, or somebody criticizing us of being racist. They have a big issue now with what they call critical race theory, especially in the schools. They don't want it in the school. I said, fine, you don't want it in the school? Well, I'll talk to my colleagues. I talk to everyone I come in contact with. I tell them. I let them know. And I tell him, tell everybody you know as well. That's fine. You don't want it in the school? We don't have to have it in school. We'll talk about it. We'll have it. I get a megaphone and go out here in the middle of the block and talk about it. Just like we used to do, right? In bigger cities, they call it the street preacher. I think they used to call him the street preacher. Malcolm did it in Harlem, New York, and other brothers and sisters did it in other cities and states, right? And even if you don't do it like that, talk to your peers and your colleagues. Yeah, they'll tell you. So we just wanted to, as a review, remember that we have something that's in our midst. If we would analyze it, if we would use it properly, this can be a renaissance. We don't have to look back at what happened in the past. Not that anything is wrong with looking back, but what's going to actually help us is us analyzing our own situation and moving forward with what we gather from that. That's what our teacher's been telling us. So with that, I'm going to pause, and maybe if somebody has a question about something I said that I can clear up, or that I didn't say quite the way you have heard it, I'll try to address that, or even a concern that's not necessarily a part of this. I found it interesting that he said some of us don't even have the courage to say what he said. Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
You were talking about speaking, I see this a lot, and I still kind of see it so much in the Ummah, when Muslims were inside Chicago, and are you referring to saying that are we adopting the ways of another culture or another race of people? When you're talking about that, you say that what you're really trying to say is, just because you're Muslim, you don't have to dress or look like an Arab. You know what I'm saying?
Well, some have said that. Some have said that, and it plays right into the question. We have our own unique way of dress. Okay. Yeah. So it could be said like that. Yes, it could be said like that. Now, am I saying that? Not specifically, right? But I'm in the same community. I'm in the same circle. So we're still very, very pliable. Like you molding something like clay. We're still very pliable. We'll latch on to a lot of things that come our way and would neglect our own self or our own findings.
Another thing she's on, another thing you have to do with our way. He was talking in service, but I got him to say, he said it's very John. He was saying there are those among us who want us to make us their children. That's what he was talking about.
Okay.
So he's saying, well, how are y'all an example? Look at the way y'all think. This is not the way of the prophet Muhammad, this is Christ. And it's not in John. Why are we following?
I can't hear the last part.
No, I'm saying, why are we following him? This is what he's saying. We all are an example. Look at the way you treat the women. Look at the way you say, you're not following the prophet Muhammad, so who am I following from? What kind of example you are? That's where they're talking, this is what I'm saying, what I got. I kind of got they act like they have, Arabs acting like behavior that they have to be down to Al-Islam. And he's not. If you do like a worldwide consensus, the majority of Muslims are from Southeast Asia.
Hmm?
So, you was talking about, a lot of us, because you like to, you don't have to do that. Just because you're Muslim, you're not Arab. And say, like, you're Arab, you're Muslim.
That's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Nobody can say anything behind that. Any other comments, questions?
I have something I want to say to that. I found out that was true when I was a very young man. I was a teenager, and I was in this community. It seemed like it was in a house praying, and I had just finished reading the book, and I asked this. Well, I was sitting beside this Arab brother, and he's an older brother. He said, "If you want to know anything about Islam, ask me." Oh, I just read something yesterday about Zechariah talking to the angel Gabriel when his wife was about to have a baby. And I asked him about that because Allah said don't talk for 3 days, I believe it was, and another place says 3 nights. So I was asking him about that, and he said, I don't think an angel ever talked to anybody except Muhammad. I just looked at him and then I said, okay, what about my business? It just let me know that just because he's an Arab, and he also asked me, he solicited me, I didn't ask him to anything. I just finished reading it, so that let me know that not everybody who you think who looks like they're the part is actually knows what they're talking about.
And we're encouraged with all that we say. We're encouraged to take the high road. We're encouraged to take the high road, and we can do that. And just for clarity, when we say take the high road, it's related to the example of Prophet Muhammad. He took the high road regarding his enemies. You know what they did to him. All the stuff that they did to him. Not one time did he say, okay, angels, take care of him. Get him out of here. Wipe him out. Right? They were so cruel and mean and hateful to him. Right? But look at his position towards his enemy. So we're encouraged to take the high ground as he did. And his book, one of his comments is that we're the ones going to have to work for reconciliation. Nobody else is going to do that. We're going to have to do it. So this is a big thing. Reconciliation. Put our hurt, put it in its proper perspective, and work for reconciliation. Some of you may have remembered, I brought these things here, where the people at Muslim Journal chronicled 10, 20, about almost 30 years of dawah. And it's not just some small circle. This is showing the big picture that we're a part of. So if you care to refresh your memory, you can review these. But this was back from 1975 to 2000 2006, I believe. He passed in 2008. This much activity promoted by one person shows us the connections that we have had, how it's not just a little small thing, it's a big deal, right? And if you understand your connection, you can find place in here if you want to pick something up and redo or reshape it, or to bring it back, you can do it because we had the international connection. You don't have to be a committee. It could be just something that you saw that he did or that he promoted that we did. You can pick it up and get it going again. It's not a small thing. So yes, sisters, you're absolutely right. I didn't say it exactly like that, but you're absolutely right. And there have been people who have said that y'all should come unto us. Absolutely.
That's what you know, when I think this, I was in this week, I was in the, what they call it, summer community. They have it inside here. And when now that I know what I know, it seems like a lot of, I'm just going to say it, a lot of us are looking for another master. You know, and if you really want to know the truth about the Arabs that y'all speak today, they're saying, those are not pure Arabs. The Arabs are like, those Arabs that you see today, they're a history of the colonization of the country in the country. So it's like, those are Romans. They're Roman descendants of those things. So that they should be people Roman. And so I think they probably would upset because especially when the prophet Muhammad showed a brother that looked like me. So I'm like,
Oh yeah. So again, you're absolutely right. Who can argue with that? So again, we're just reviewing some of his comments, and I intentionally wanted to parrot what he said, right? Because I don't have a problem parroting others, so don't come to me as though I have a problem parroting him, right? If I can parrot Bukhari and Muslim and Tabari and Ibn Kathir and everybody else, don't come to me with the issue that I can't parrot him. All right? He brought this to us, and we don't want to disrespect it. We want to ask Allah to guide our hearts, guide our tongues, and guide our behavior so that we get the best of this world and the best of the world to come. Assalamu alaikum. May God's peace be upon you.
I want to add one other thing that you mentioned. You was talking about images and going around trying to stop the images. Yesterday I was giving dawah in Diggs Park, and I had that flyer that we have out here. I only had two left. An image of white Jesus and an image of black Jesus. Every time I go out there with this, the kids say, "That's God. We need to take this." Little kids grabbed it immediately and said, "The white person in that picture was God." That's what they said. That's what our children believe. Right? So we still got a lot more work to do. They went immediately.